Hello and good morning from Collie, Western Australia. This is Miriam Smout, founder and creator of Redemption Mamas, a space where I have been mentoring women now for several decades. It's a space where I'm so privileged to journey with women who choose to heal deep wounds, reclaim their personal power, and step into their unlock their God given destiny through spirit-led intuitive heart healing. It's been my pleasure, my privilege, my honour to work with numerous women over those decades and myself as well. It's an ongoing journey that I call heart healing. I mean, it's not what I call it, but it is what it is. And it's a term that has just become very dear to me, the journey of heart healing. I offer heart encounters to women who are in that space and in that place where you're ready to be really brave and courageous and start to dive in and investigate what's inside your heart. I'm amazed at how the heart is not just physically the control center of our life. It pumps the blood, it keeps the life going. It's the piece that if it stops, we die. We cannot breathe. We cannot live anymore. It's the same emotionally. The heart is the control center of our life. And when that control center has got a place, a pain, a wound, many sometimes, for me it was many, then that pumping of life is filtered through that pain. It's filtered through that wound. And we never truly have control of our emotions, our thoughts, our feelings that all operate in our soul realm, because the control center is not actually in control. It's still doing its job and pumping the life, but its control is out of a messy, broken filter. And for me, the journey of diving into my heart and letting my heart be open and pressing into what was there has been one of the most dynamic and life-changing experiences, and for which I'm very, very grateful. This month in October, I missed last week and was with my new little grandbaby, Riley, and his mum, Naomi, and dad, Mike, and their children. He's a beautiful little baby that we got to celebrate last week. And when I got there, I realized, whoops, got no internet connection. This is not going to work. And so I skipped last week, but back on track again. In the month of October, I wanted to really investigate the intentionality of choosing heart healing, the intentionality of pursuing and pressing on and pressing in to the heart healing journey. The heart healing journey has been one that's taken a lot of courage for me and everybody that I work with to step into. It's a journey that, without pressing in, without being intentional, it's not going to happen. Nothing happens unless we're intentional. Nothing happens unless we make a plan, we step in and we press on and press in to whatever it is that we are wanting to achieve. We don't become a teacher like I did without actually going through the training, going through the process. We don't achieve anything by just letting things ride out. And I let things ride out for many years in my life, and it wasn't until my 40s, after my fifth child, that my life started to unravel, and I didn't have the control that I thought I had. I didn't have the resolve that I saw my mother had. My mother seemed to just be able to suck it up and get on with it and not let things affect her. But ultimately, that was not the truth. It was not the truth of what was really happening deep down inside for her and for me as well. So in my 40s, I unraveled. I hit a space of huge depression. My marriage was failing. I just was losing hope for things that I had thought would be what I would have in my hand, what I would be living in my life at that stage. I was not living victoriously. I didn't have joy. I was struggling on many fronts. It wasn't until I actually came across a friend very similar to me and saw that she had had an incredible transformation. The droop on her face and the grief and the pain that you carry, you don't realize how you actually carry it, and people can see it. It's just we don't see it because we've chosen to hide it and not look and investigate and open ourselves up to the truth of what's really going on the inside. So pursuing means actively pressing in, actively, ongoingly, intentionally leaning in and working out what is going on in our life. It's not a passive thing. Heart healing is not a passive thing, but it's showing up. It's showing up for your healing. And even when it's hard, and sometimes it is hard as we face things about our lives or experiences or environments that have not been very conducive to living our life the way that we would like. And even when I didn't feel like it, even when I wondered why am I doing this? Because sometimes the answers don't come overnight. But as I continued to press on and lean into God and pursue the wholeness that my heart desired, I started to get more and more hungry and more willing to surrender and let go and invite into my heart a willingness to name and acknowledge the pain that I was experiencing or had experienced. How interesting, my nose is deciding to run right as I turn this video on. No worries, we'll keep pressing on because that's what I've learned to do, press on. So choosing to lean in, what are we leaning into? What did I have to lean into? I had to lean into some truth. I had to lean into some authenticity. I had to lean into God through prayer, through worship, through giving my time to things that were going to help my heart to declutter and get that control center cleaned out. I don't believe it's 100% cleaned out, but I believe I have a process now that helps me to pursue that journey, to continue on that journey, and to press on regardless of whether I see the results instantly or if it takes a bit of time to really understand and get the revelation that I needed. So the last week, I talked about pressing on honestly before God, naming what was going on in our hearts, understanding and acknowledging the pain that we might be experiencing in our lives. Healing begins when we actually stop pretending and we start owning the pain, owning the wound, owning the grief, not in a sense of like some of us do, which is like, I'm an angry person and I'm just always going to be an angry person. There you go. You're just going to have to live with my anger. And I did think that for quite some time. I'm just an angry person. My mother was an angry person. I'm an angry person. It's just genetic. Not at all. Not a truth. Not a truth. That's a lie. And that's the part of the heart healing journey that as we ask questions and we get curious about what is this anger? Where did this anger come from? When did it start? Is it even genetic, or would I say generational? I don't believe things are genetic in the same way that we've been told, because I've seen transformation. I've seen people break the generational curses and bondages over their lives. I've done it myself. And yes, my mother was an angry person. She had come from a very harsh background. And while we didn't experience the same harshness that I believe she probably did, she was still not free to operate in the true personality, the true person that God had created her to be. So when we press in, when we lean in, when we are willing to acknowledge and name and open ourselves up to truth, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with what we discover? What are we going to do with what we find out? And partly that was the scary piece for me that stopped me really pursuing this journey sooner. I was so afraid that if I started to open up some of the grief that I felt in my life, that I would be crying for the rest of my life and I wouldn't know how to stop. I genuinely thought that. Well, today I want to encourage, guide, challenge you to surrender some of that hidden pain, to lean on and learn how to lean on God instead of your own strength. I took some time to learn to trust in the Lord with all my heart and to not lean on my own understanding. I still have to work at that because that smart self wants to rise up and take authority and be the boss and rule the roost and do what I think is best. And yet I've learnt now over these years that my ways are not God's ways and my thoughts are not his thoughts. He has so much variety, unique, creative ways that he can work that I don't even have the capacity to comprehend. So in learning to lean, well, firstly, learning to press in. Then I had to learn to lean on something. And I did lean on the mentors that supported me, beautiful women that I'm so blessed to have come across them and their support and their encouragement. So grateful. And even today, I still have mentors in my life that are such a blessing because we can be a bit blind. You know, we get, what's the word, when they put the blindfolds on the horse? Blindfolded. We only see this much. And we often only see what we want to see, right? And so it takes someone else outside of us actually saying, do you see what I see? It's not quite the same. And that can be confronting. And as a role, as a mentor, it's not actually my role to tell you what I see, because what I see is just through my filter. But when we get curious, when we ask questions, when we dive deep, when we ask for understanding, when we press in, things get revealed to you, to me. And I don't need to tell people what to do, but rather when we actually open ourselves up in a very truthful, authentic, genuine way, we will see what we need to see. You will see what you need to see. And I just want to put a disclaimer here that the Holy Spirit is such a gentleman. I work with the Holy Spirit who reveals and unravels and opens up what needs to be brought to the surface, what needs to be brought to the light. But he is such a gentleman. He is such a gentleman in the way that he speaks, in the way that he walks with us, in the way that he works with us. He never pushes us beyond what we're ready, beyond what we're willing and ready to open up and understand about ourselves. So today I want to talk a little bit about this whole concept of surrendering the pain, surrendering the hidden things, and surrendering to Papa G. I call him Papa G because I found calling him God was just a little bit sterile, maybe. It was a little bit disconnected. And so as on my journey, I began to discover the goodness, the kindness, the loving heart of my Father God. I wanted to give him a different name. I wanted to call him something different that felt really personal and real to me. And so, I started to call him Papa G. So if I bring out that, that's why I'm talking about Papa G, because he is my daddy. He is my God. He is my friend. He is a kind, good gentleman that wants to walk with me and help me unpack some of the pain, some of the wounds of my journey. I'm so grateful that I don't have to hide those things anymore, that I don't have to hide from them, that I don't have to deny them and try to just get on and go on as if they don't exist. I am so grateful that the journey I've been on now enables me to surrender and trust and lean on Him. You know, surrender isn't weakness. When we surrender, it doesn't mean we're weak and we don't have the courage or the determination to keep going on. It actually is trust. And I think it takes a whole lot more to trust and surrender and lean on Him and trust in Papa G and courage than it does to keep holding on to stuff that actually isn't serving us well at all. And when we are holding on to those things, we're in survival mode. And we can live in survival mode for the period of time that it takes us to survive. But if the rest of our lives is survival mode, that is not sustainable. Because when we're in survival mode, everything is like arced up, everything is and tense. We're looking for the next thing that's going to get us through. Actually, we have the next thing that will get us through. Living within us, dwelling within us, that spirit man, that spirit being, that spirit, still small voice, once we say yes and just say, help, connect with me. I want you to guide me. I want you to direct my paths. Then we are surrendering. We are surrendering and leaning on Him. And that takes much more faith and trust than trying to hold on to all of the crappy stuff that we actually find is weighing us down. You know, when we are in that space of thinking, I've just got to hold on, I've just got to keep gritting my teeth and getting myself through, that's when we isolate ourselves and we believe we have to carry that pain alone. That if we tell anyone, it's going to be a horrible disaster. It's going to be ugly and messy. It's going to maybe even be betraying some of the people that might have violated us or that we violated or have got some secrets that maybe we've been told you've got to keep that under wraps, don't ever bring that out. If we carry the pain alone, that burden becomes too much for us to bear. And that's when we become depressed, when we become sick, when our soul is out of line and out of whack, it doesn't prosper. And when our soul is prospering, our body is prospering, our health is prospering. And that's been a very powerful part of my heart healing journey. I had a numerous number of ailments that were giving me a lot of grief. And I remember in my early 40s when I had a throat condition that I would cough all the time and I could hardly talk for a few words and I would cough and choke. And, you know, went to the medical, asked the medical what's going on. They did all these tests. I remember there was this barium swallow I had to do. You know, everything came back negative. There was nothing wrong with me. It's like in that time, and that was a number of different conditions that I had tests for. There's nothing wrong with you. And yet here I was, definitely experiencing ailments and physical symptoms that I couldn't control. What I realized in time as I started my heart healing journey and began to get curious and ask questions about my ailments, about the issues that were hurts and wounds in my life that I was carrying, then I started to notice these ailments were not plaguing me anything like they were before. I had knee issues that were causing me so much trouble in my 40s. I wasn't overweight. There wasn't any reason for me to be having knee issues. But as I sought that healing and as I was willing to surrender and not carry this alone and get some support and help, I can say now, 20 odd years later, I don't have knee issues. I'm so grateful and so blessed. I'm sure had I not done this journey, maybe I would have had to have, knee whatever done by now. But I'm so, so grateful. And to those who have helped me on the health side of it, my beautiful friend Janine, who I work with, and so many precious modalities that have helped me to stay healthy and strong. But at the very base, the very crux of all of this has been the willingness to lean on God, to trust in Him, to not carry that pain alone, to surrender and do the journey in an open, authentic way with myself and with others that have been brought into my life. Leaning on God requires laying down self-reliance. Self-reliance is something that we believe or we're taught, perhaps no one else is going to do it for you, which is kind of true, right? You just have to decide to do it for yourself. But then deciding that you've got to do it all by yourself without any help and just being completely reliant on your own wisdom and your own understanding, that's the piece that ends up causing us grief and struggle and pain, and it's not true. When we have carried things, when we have been walking that walk of life and the pain and the wounds are starting to surface through physical health issues, through issues in our body that cause us grief and pain, issues in our emotions that cause us to be weighed down and struggle with all sorts of stuff. When these things are happening, it's a sign, it's a signal that firstly, you don't have to do this on your own. Secondly, you have a God who loves you and cares for you, who understands your every need, who understands everything about you better than you can even ever probably understand yourself. And that you can lean on Him. And leaning on Him, trusting in Him, will bring you understanding. It will bring you revelation. It will bring you the answers, the people in your life. As I've laid down and surrendered to having to do it myself, to having to just grit my teeth, I've had people come into my world, into my life, who have been absolutely angels. God just brought them in. Papa G just brought them in, and they've been precious friends, precious confidants, precious mentors, precious people that I've journeyed with and walk with and do life with. And I'm so, so grateful that I don't have to do this on my own. I want to challenge you today. I want to challenge you to consider, are there aspects in your heart, in your control center, that are telling you, stay in control? Don't give that to anyone else. Don't trust anything. Don't trust anyone else outside of yourself. The truth is, we do have everything inside of us that we need. When we have that partnership with heaven, we actually invite the fullness of Jesus, the Godhead, to live and dwell within us. But when we walk in a way that we don't need to get support and help and walk with others and partner with heaven, then we will not have the joy in our life that we desire. We'll always be striving. We'll always be struggling. We'll always be gritting our teeth and hoping things are going to work out for the best. Whereas when we partner with heaven, when we partner with Papa G, He will bring people, He will bring people into our lives. He will bring opportunities into our lives. He will heal the wounds that we've carried even from childhood. He will break the generational curses and connections and things that keep us stuck in the cycles that we are repeating from our past generations. He will bring healing and wholeness to your body in a way that you will not believe possible. I'm so grateful and so blessed on my journey of this 65. Actually, 2 days ago, 65 years was my birthday on October 15th. And I actually forgot that it was coming because we'd had such a busy period of moving and a new grandbaby and puppies, and my life is full. I am so grateful that at this stage in my life, I feel like I'm just getting started. And I'm very, very excited that that's because I've been on this heart healing journey, to ask the curious questions, to unpack, reveal, name, acknowledge, and face to face the things in my own life that I was trying to hide because I just didn't know what to do with them. So I'm excited that I keep saying this soon, very soon. I want to start a mentorship program where people can jump in monthly, join us for a month, leave for the month, whatever works for you, and get access to the things that I've been producing and promoting over the years. I had my domain name stolen and I was offered it back at a very extravagant cost. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to refresh. And so that's what I've been doing, partly doing that. Also writing a series of books on the restoration of a heart of a woman, because that's the very crux of what my heart desires, to not just live it myself, but to share and impart and encourage and challenge other women that they can live a life. They can live a life free of the bondage, of the wounds, of the hurts that might have shaped you, might have been what you think is you. That, like me, I'm an angry person. Just get out of my way when I'm angry, because it won't be pretty. And it wasn't pretty. But I learned that that's not the truth. That's not who I really, truly am. That's not who I was created to be. God didn't create me wrong. He didn't create you wrong. He didn't make a mistake. But things happen in our life, and experiences that even are out of our control, even before we have cognitive memory. And for me, some of the things that happened did impact my life for such a long time. But now I'm so grateful that I'm able to be free of the tie of that, of the authority that had over my life. It no longer has that authority. And if it tries to sneak back in, I've got some tools and I've got some strategies that help me to say, no, I'm sorry, you're not welcome back and you're not coming back. And I'm going to do what it takes to lean in and press on to get the heart healing and the create the space to just really press in and enjoy my life, to live in the joy, to live in the light, to live in the beauty of what it means to have that control center, my heart control center, clean and cleansed and purified. And while it's a journey that it took me some time to step into, when I saw my friend over a period of time just continue to flourish and grow, I decided, I want that. I want that. I want that too. It takes effort. It takes commitment. It takes pressing in and leaning on and trusting in the Lord with all our heart. Pursuing heart healing, it's an ongoing, active, intentional journey. It takes intentionality. It takes commitment. And it takes a willingness to try some new things, to do some things that maybe you don't love or you haven't done as much in the past. Journaling for me, for instance, that was something I had done off and on, and I still do off and on, but I know that when I get to certain places or periods in my life, that getting back to journaling is going to be a supportive way, a strategy to help me stay on track. This month, I have been focusing on a process of write it out. Write it out is a process where it's up to you how many you choose, but sometimes I choose 5, sometimes I choose 10, sometimes I might choose 3. And they're like decrees or declarations of what I'm wanting to achieve in my life or what I'm wanting to see happen. And what for you, it might be just getting some healing, getting your joy back, getting your purpose back, getting your health back. And so with that process, I write it out. I write it out in the morning and I write it out in the evening. And why write it out is so beautiful is that it's tactile, physical. Got the pen in your hand and you write it out. It's visual. I'm watching, I'm looking. It's verbal. I speak it out as I write it out. And these are things that I've actually found incredibly helpful and useful over the years. I actually forgot to get up my little video. Anyway, it's a little video and I want to create a bigger one with more content and more information in it about the write it out process. It takes me 5 minutes in the morning. It takes me 5 minutes at night. 10 minutes in my 24-hour day is not too much to set aside to keep my heart on track, to keep my mind focused on what my heart desires. That control center, that my heart, your heart is the control center of our being. And when that control center is focused on the goals, focused on the desires, focused on the things that are going to serve you well, you're going to be able to see that heart just flourish. And out of that heart, out of your heart flows the abundance of life. It flows the beauty. It flows the goodness. And that's what I want for me, and that's what I want for you. So one of the ways too that I've been finding very helpful and supportive on my journey is breathing, the breath of life, letting my breath be a release and to receive. We breathe in, we breathe out, we breathe in the oxygen, we breathe out the carbon dioxide. Our heart is continually pumping and causing us to breathe and breathe to give us life. So the breath is an incredibly a powerful and anointed piece of our life, of our journey. And I'm only coming to appreciate it now, how powerful and how important it actually is. So today I want to do some breathing with you to release what we've carried, to release the things that we've carried that have prevented us from receiving peace and life. In the breath, we're going to inhale and then we're going to exhale. We're going to inhale what we want to get rid of, and we're going to exhale to receive what we need. And we'll do that for 5 or 6 breaths, but just to get into the space, find a spot where you can just sit and rest and start breathing deeply through your nose. There's various different breathing patterns that have different benefits for us, but today I just want us to get into that space, into that place, to create a space of rest and peace. So start breathing deeply. Breathe in for 6 and hold for 6 and release for 6. Let's go. Breathe in. 4, 5, 6. hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, release, 2, 3, 5, 6, breathe in, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, release, 2, 3, 4. And again, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3. When I start this, I can feel my brain actually getting clarity and getting space. The oxygen, breathing in and holding and releasing like that is incredibly powerful. So just keep breathing deeply and exhale. It brings you into peace. Breathe in and exhale. As you inhale, I want you to say, I release my fear, my pain, and my striving. I release my fear, my pain, and my striving. Breathe in. I release my fear, my pain, and striving. Breathe it out. And say, I receive your peace, your love, your strength, Papa G. I receive your peace, your love, your strength, whatever you want to call him. I call him Papa G. So breathing in deeply, I release my fear, my pain, my striving. Exhale. I receive your peace, your love, your strength. Inhale. I release my fear, my pain, my striving. Exhale. I receive your peace, your love, your strength. Again. I release my fear, my pain, my striving. Let it go. I receive your peace, your love, and your strength. One more time. I release my fear, my pain, and my striving. I receive your peace, your love, your strength. You can take that little breathing exercise and continue it, practice it at different times during the day, particularly when you feel anxiety or you feel fear or you feel pain or you feel like you just, striving. Stop, pause, and practice this release and this release of the breath and receiving the peace that our hearts just long for. Then after this time together, finish with some journaling, some write it out. What burdens have you been carrying alone? What things have you been carrying on your own? Write it in a context of releasing it. Write it out like, I release the burden of anxiety that I've been carrying. I release the burden of anxiety that I've been carrying. I release it and write it out, speak it out, read it out. Refresh your heart with the truth of what it is your heart needs and what it is you want to do. Write it out. And then as you write it out, speak it out, read it out, do it 10 times in the morning, do it 10 times at night, just before you go to bed. What better way to wake up than to release some of the fears, some of the striving, some of the anxiety that maybe we've been carrying for way too long? And then what better way to go to sleep at night but declaring that you're going to release those things? I reckon you'll find your sleep is much fuller, better, more restful, and refreshing, not carrying that into your night and into your rest and into your sleep. This week, take some time. Take some time to surrender, to let go, to release some of the hidden pain. Practice leaning on Papa G and practice releasing it and saying, I am so worried about, I am so fearful, I am so hurt, I'm so betrayed. And give it to him, release it to him. Release it and ask him to help you to lean on him instead of your own strength. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes for your life this week. I encourage you, I challenge you, I exhort you to press into your heart healing journey, to press into that control center, that heart, that place that has the control of pumping and keeping us alive. It pumps our blood through our body. It keeps us alive. Who wants to live in the fullness of joy, in the fullness of strength and health, in the fullness and the freedom of not having fears overshadow us day by day? If that's you, then reach out, start a chat with me, DM me, whatever works for you. I'd love to hear. And I am so hopeful that in November I can start a mentoring group, which will be at this time in the day for the US. It'll be 8:30 until daylight saving starts, and then it will be 7:30. I think your daylight saving starts in November, early November. And then in Australia, it means that it's just a good time for Australians, and it's a good time for the international people as well. So be blessed. Go into your week trusting Papa with your heart. Trust him, lean on him with all of your heart, and don't lean on your own understanding. Take care, be blessed. I look forward to joining you next week.